go then, and back into the Discord. If you're watching this, welcome in. If you aren't racing with us currently, you can. You can be on this grid next week. Yeah. If you haven't hit follow or subscribe or whatever it is on Twitch, please do so. If you've got one of them Twitch Prime things that you can use, please use that. That helps us out, keeps the server costs down for all the racers, the core group of us donating, keeping the servers running. Right, where's my helicopter? Here we go then. Behind the trees, the drivers file 2 by 2. 25 cars, it's a busy grid. Hopefully no one sponsored by Tom Daly sending it down into turn 1 with a dive. You won't win a gold in turn 1 at Barcelona. So 2 by 2, there's a few gaps, a few people potentially out of position, but it's a good start from the front runners. The Brewdog car of Paul Hayhoe holding on to that first place, but Andrew Wellborn wants to come through on Ant Brown. It's going to be 3 wide if they're not careful. Ant's going to try and break later. Andrew backs out of it, eases off. Mazenko looks towards the inside as well, but the front two still side by side. Andrew gets a nudge in the rear. It's Mazenko's been hit. Let's try and see. That's not the start we want from the Porsches. That's horrendous. Well, Tom Daly award will be handed out later on. There's a car facing. So, back down the front if the leaderboard sorts itself out. I will have a look at some of the front runners. Where are they? So that was Alex Osborne caught up. Right, the leaderboard's caught up as we file out of Sector 1. Paul Hayhoe holds on at the front in the Brewdog liveried 992. 922, whichever it is. I should learn my Porsches. So Ant has held on to second place after that early pressure from Andrew Wellborn. Someone out wide in the background. I think that was Scott Savage. It was indeed. So he ran wide out of the turn, and there's polystyrene everywhere. There's Challen around. It's a questionable rejoin. We've got multiple cars all over the place. Joe leaves some 11s, recovering from that incident. He's immediately into the back of the number 2 car. That's Matt Johnston. It's not Matt Johnston. I couldn't read the number 2. Well, the leaderboard will catch up. That's unfortunately what happens after a spin. So, Paul leading them through the first lap. It's Wellborn with the fastest lap, but that really counts for nothing at this stage. Is he going to be in a position to attack? We'll get out the helicopter. Able to attack Ant down into turn 1. Alex Kingston holding his own for that 4th place, just dropping back from that lead pack of 3. Andrew with the narrower line off the turn there, and really nothing to separate this lot. The gap that Alex had really there anymore. And Matt Davies, not really mentioned him at all. Sounds like he's coming with very little practice, but still holding his own. He just pulled together a team livery with Dave Rose just before the start of this. Absolutely, Chris. Classic new series chaos there. That's alright, we'll have 6 cars racing next week. So, Matty J, a little off the front runners. No arrive and drive goodness so far, but you bet he'll be there later on in the series. So Scott, after that earlier polystyrene incident, heads through in 7th. Got a bit of a gap back to Joe, who we saw recovering earlier on. In the background with a rather large flag. We've got a yellow flag out somewhere. Joe with a flick of Oster there. As we said earlier, how will the tyres hold up? Looks like it's Dave Rose he had contact with earlier on. Further back down the field, Ross Parker. Again, I don't think that's his livery, but fair enough. John coming through in the 2nd of the Heirloom Puzzles cars. So it's getting a little bunched further back here. I think Ricky Risotto's coming under some pressure. Let's see where that files out as we head round onto the start-finish straight. So Ricky Ricky currently 15th. That's Tom Lyons in the other Coca-Cola car, just ahead of him. Various lines down into turn 1. With Nathan Yates not too far behind, Josh Copeland, a narrow line into the right-hander. He wants to go chasing after Ricky, but we've got Matty Zenko in the pits now. He's a lap down, so you saw the earlier contact. Looks like he is retiring that car, but hopefully staying in. On the downshifts there. There's Nathan Yates with Wes not too far behind. Some damage on the front of the rear of Wes's car. A big kick of oversteer there, just showing how difficult these cars are to run. Was obviously out of position after earlier incident, looking to recover. A dip of the gravel there. Not going to help his progress as Nathan Yates defends now into the turn. Wes around the outside of him there. Oversteer, those tyres going to be hating the oversteer. We've also gone up to 30 degrees. Matty Zenko now, I thought he was out of the pits, but he's not. He's back in as the number 10 car. Pulls back onto the circuit. He's number 10. Dave Rose has fallen a long way. I think he was in 9th, and he's now in 19th. So Dave, with earlier incident there, lost about 11 seconds as he falls down the field, so not what Dave will be wanting. Back down the front, Paul holds on. Ant is right with him. Those lead 3. Not that Alex is too far off. Then you've got the gap back to Matty Johnston, who's made his way past Matt Davies. Don't think either Matt particularly done much practice, and that is showing in these cars because they're normally challenging for that first place. There's quite a large field spread. I know we were expecting a larger field spread as AD leaps across the exit curb, touches the inside curb. That's going to push him wide, very close to dipping into the gravel, as is Scott. Joe looks like he's got things a little more under control than it was a moment ago. Here comes Adam Foster, another new name to the Slip Grip Racing. So good to see him well within the top 10. Then here comes John, and he's got quite a lot to look at in his mirrors. He's got Nat Shirley, another of the pro runners, but some damage on the front end of that car. A big leap of curb there for Nat as he heads through the final sector. Then we've got Tom Lyons not too far behind. Josh, what are you doing, man? Calm it down. Out of shape there for Josh. Really fighting this car. Nat Shirley looking to the inside of John Walker. John's gone mid-track defensive, pushing Nat over the marbles. They both hit their braking markers. John trying to go the long way round. I don't know if he just came across the nose of Nat. Nat backs out of it. That's John parked up facing the wall. He bangs it into reverse, and he's got to now find a way back onto the circuit. There's a gap. Yeah, everyone through, so a good rejoin, but a shame for John there. Tries to hold on to one place and loses all of them. Ricky now closing in on the back of Ross Parker. The gaps at the front wall still pretty close, but the field spread, well, it's packed back here. There's a blue flag in there for someone, the 91 car. Scott Lawson's in the pits, but you think goes out of the way. Ash Wootton. quite sure what was going on there. Apologies. A little bit lost in the field. Wow, looks like we've got 12 people in. Welcome in. It's a bit of a struggle to keep up with what's going on, and it's a load of new liveries. It's round 1, race 1, so just trying to find my feet with who's who in what car. So we're not even 10 minutes into this race and we've already got quite a field spread. As you can see from the track map, the leaders already well through the first sector. And some of these guys are only just heading across the line, so have indeed got some field spread. Let's have a quick field rundown if we're not missing a pass. Nathan Yates staying ahead of Alex Osborne, but Alex having a really good run trying to get past Nathan. There is Nathan, or Alex, sorry. So Alex with a little weave looks to the inside, closes right on the back of Nathan. You see the balance in the throttle, just trying to not oversteer the car too much. A little later on the brakes for Alex. Opportunity this time further forward. Ash Woodson is absolutely fine. He's just running his own race. It was indeed Ricky ahead, just behind 87, Matty Zenko. So, oh, Ricky, he holds on. A massive over-rotation out of the turn, and he's losing positions hand over fist. Alex Osborne on the inside into the back of 46. That's Nathan Yates dispatched. Not quite sure what overlap we had there, but it's ended in another collision. Rather unfortunate there. We've got a car out in the gravel. Who is it? Not sure, but they're back on the track. Whoever it was, apologies. Heard the noise of gravel before we could actually get to see anything. Lots of PBs coming in for the guys further down the field. Alex Kingston's done the fastest lap of the race, and he's currently lapping faster than the guys behind. Guys ahead, sorry. Yeah, so Paul's been able to break away, and Brown has then dropped off slightly, and it's put him back towards Andrew Wellborn. He's a second off his delta, whereas Paul's hitting his, so Paul able to run away at the front. We'll stick with these lead guys for a moment, and now massively under pressure. What's Alex going to do? Alex is obviously a bit of an unknown to Andrew, so Andrew may be a little bit cautious, but he'll also be very keen to try and get ahead of Ant. Final sector we go. Onto the chicane. These guys all got a measure of the curbs. No one hitting anything too major. The two cars behind leap across. Oh, we've had an incident with car 69 and with car 8. Strulovic and Toft. Let's rewind. This is Igor Jurovic, sorry, not Drugovic. He's not a tennis player. Evening all in the chat. Oh dear, Ash from a long way back. I'm not quite sure what happened there. That's very unfortunate, but I've had to put it on stream. Ash is now actually back to pits, so yeah, the Tom Daly Award looks like it's going to Ash Toft so far this evening after that attempt, but we will watch the replays. So how's that battle getting on? And Brown still under pressure. Paul still able to break away. Looks like it's settled down now, so Andrew not quite putting the pressure on as he was. They've just realised that the fighting wasn't doing any of them any favours, so this top pack continues to break away. Matty J, that's a hill. There he is, Matty J. Now able to break away from Matt Davies, so arrive and drive Matt. Go Mr. Z, yeah. Go Mr. Zenko, unfortunately, is way down the field. He had an unfortunate incident at the start of this race. Got involved in a bit of a tangle. 25 into one didn't go. So he'll be hoping to come back for race 2. The temperature ticking up a degree now. Just got over 15 minutes left, so we're approaching the halfway distance. There's Toff still in the pits. How's Scott getting on? Scott's doing okay. Scott lapping in the 47s. His last lap was his fastest lap. He needs to keep putting in those laps because just behind. Now a little less sideways than he was is Joe Challoner for 8th position. William Foster, Tom Lyons now got Nat Shirley. So Tom leading the silver drivers at the moment. He's not in a race with Nat, so if Nat does appear to put on some more pressure, it's actually spurring Tom on. That was his fastest lap of the race. So Nat now approaching. Is he going to fight him? Is there going to be a move? There's a good bit of slipstream down into turn 1. Both drivers hitting their braking points. Nat actually looks a little slower through the first apex, but look at the line it gives him through the second and then running into the third. So no change of position there, but Tom can sacrifice that one if he wants to. I think that is Matty Zenko in the background, chased by Joe Challoner. So not Joe Challoner, Josh Copeland. I got the initials right. So that is Matty trying to recover, ready for race 2. Obviously the start position will be taken from this evening's qualifying session, so we get a bit of a reset. We get to go again. Don't know if Josh has cut on the stream too long. Someone will notice the logo and reporting. So Ross Parker with Wes Bakehouse. Again, I'm not sure on the pronunciation. If that is wrong, Wes, I do apologise. Wes Bakehouse in 14th, a little wide for Ozzy Osborne in the background. Just getting to terms with the car there. John Walker again finding his own space. Ryan David not too far behind, leading the AM drivers at the moment. We saw Ricky having some challenges earlier on, and there's actually a lot of damage on these Porsches. Imagine the bill. We'll be making an absolute fortune. Dave Rose, Formula Drift, Formula Dave. Sideways everywhere at the moment. Nathan not too far behind. The recovery in Smarty's car of Ash, with the man that he punted to end up in the pits. We were not too far behind, so we might suspect that Ash will yield that position if Ogor needs to come through. Mr. Zenko's still well in the mix. He's absolutely flying compared to the cars around him. Well, one is rather close, so let's go and have a look. Andrew indeed back under the spoiler of Ant's a little deep. We've timed it well. Wellborn, a flick of excited oversteer at the prospect of going down the inside. Ant taking a very narrow line in. That's going to compromise him. Looks like he's got it just about gathered up, but that was the moment. So Andrew Wellborn through to make it a Brewdog 1-2. He's only got to sustain this for another 12 minutes. Of oversteer there, and clobbers the inside curve. They're trading minor errors at the moment. Alex there ready to pick up the pieces, but all of that section where we lost about 1.8 off of Delta has allowed Paul to stretch his lead to 3.2 as his teammate makes a move on Ant Brown. It's not done yet. Ant with a wide sweep in. I was going to focus on Alex for a moment, but he's there ready. Andrew with the switchback for the long right-hander, and takes a slower approach in. There's a flick of oversteer on the way out. We've got a yellow flag, so someone is in strife somewhere, but we're back to green. So it's a brief excursion wherever they've ended up off circuit. A snap of oversteer for Ant, another bit more oversteer. Andrew able to pull a gap through that right-hander as we've got Adam Foster. He's back to pits. That's unfortunate there. That might be as a result of what we saw the yellow flag for. Ant's just dropped off slightly. Brown in the Coca-Cola liveried car. Chunk of curb. pushes the limits out to the gravel. Alex Kingston is there sustaining the pressure. But another car back to pits by the looks of it. Yes, Scott Lawson back to pits as the leaders come through the last sector. These cars are a lot harder to tame than the likes of the GT4s. They are leery and all over the place. You see the black lines being left. We are going to start seeing some pressure on the tyres. That surface blistering, graining, and generally wearing down. That surely appears to be all over the back of Tom Lyons. Let's have a brief look there. Matty Zenko in the mirrors, the blue flag inducing car this round, this race, sorry. He'll be back at the front for race 2. Currently he's 23rd, pressure in 10th. Nat just needs to soak up that pressure or try and let him through and follow him through. Matty using this to practice, ready for the next race to see what the car does in the race conditions. Tom able to break away at the moment. There he is, Nat Shirley, Porsche Motorsport car. Last lap down in the 49s. And all of the drivers will be backing off because the tyres are definitely past their best. As you heard earlier, Paul Hayhoe went through 4 sets trying to qualify. This is a much longer session, it's double the time. And if you've only got the 1 set, unless you dare pit, it's a big slide from Nat. It's good to see, it's entertaining, but it won't be doing these tyres any favours at all. So that looks like it's settled down for a moment. Where's Ryan David now towards the back of John Walker. A number of these cars battered and bruised. I don't think there's a clean side on Ryan's car. Confidence wiggle there to not induce too much oversteer. Can Ryan get the exit heading down the hill? He's well under the wing of John Walker. The leaders are already through onto the next lap, so you can see that field spread. John with the inside curb, Ryan without the inside curb. John's wide and a little touch of gravel. Ryan with a weave down towards the braking zone. All of this allowing Ricky in the background to close up. John wide, Ricky a touch of the curb as well. So Ryan was the more collected driver through that sector. Now under 8 minutes to go. Race distance left. John slightly deep on the first part of the chicane there, has to ride on the curb. On the way out we head on to the back straight. And it's a good run by John. He's actually got the drive over Ryan heading down on that last lap. Ryan was 0.2 quicker, but we know he closed up far more. Let's check back in with the front runners. So Paul actually now having to navigate some back markers. I think that's Ash Toft just ahead. Andrew Wellborn, it's settled down for him now, so it is Ant Brown under pressure from Alex Kingston. Alex second off his delta, Ant is 0.7 off of his, so Alex has really been able to close in. It's Ant now really under pressure. Go then onto the back straight. Comparable runs there for both drivers, probably a little more settled from Ant, even if it was a little wider. He's felt the need to go defensive. He knows that Alex is going to be able to get a run down into turn 1. Paul's negotiated the back marker ahead. Alex closing in under braking as you'd expect, both of them hooking that first apex. Alex staying a little further right, it's giving him a better line through into the long right hander. That rear left going to be suffering, and not as sideways as Alex, but also not as quick at the moment. Using that green exit curb. I think I can hear a car in the gravel. It because look at the map on the right, there's a car in the gravel. It means these guys can get through uninterrupted. Down the hill we head, and looks like he's gone through another phase with the tyres, and he's just got the measure of them compared to what we saw only a moment ago. So Josh Copeland's up behind at Tom Lyons, so we'll go and have a little look there as they're heading through the first long right-hander. Barking its way down the gears, a little wide, but it's harsh on the tyres there for Tom, so he's got the measure of Josh for the moment. John Walker still looks like he's putting in the defence of the century. So yeah, Ricky, as we saw earlier on, closing up to the back of Ryan. Ryan's not able to make it past John at the moment. Narrow line into the turn there. Oh, I looked away. There's been a crash. I was looking at the comments. Oh, there's still more crashing. So what happened there? So the narrow line in, I then looked at the chat because Alex has written go get him, Josh. So the narrow line in was okay. John's dropped it on the oversteer. Oh, he's gone back the other way. Oh, and a couple of cars collected. That was the 70, is that 70 or 10? That was Dave Rose collected by John there, that's really unfortunate. Ryan, David. Oh, he's, that's full limp mode spec. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Apologies, I didn't catch it live. I looked at the chat. So, Paul heading out front. Oh, and that's a lot of oversteer. We just cut to Ant where Alex is making his way through. And just with a huge chunk, you see him through. Oh, it's off the curb, it's unsettled the car. And then up the hill, Alex has just been in the right place, nice and close, but not too close to just get through. Michael getting out of the way, letting these two through. So no change for position. Influenced by back markers there. So then Matty J has been closed in. Matty J looked like he was running away from Matt Davies, but Matt Davies on that last lap 3/10 quicker, so he's just been eroding that gap to Matt. Yeah, absolutely. Chris Monroe in the chat. Well held by Ant. If that were me, I'd have been in the wall and upside down. Yeah, Ant's held on to that, especially with the condition of the tyres this late on. So can Matt D make his way past? David's gone back to the pits. We saw him in trouble and limping the car back. I think we've got 3 cars in the pits now, so these cars really proving to be a challenge for everyone. Apart from Paul Hay, he's driven off at the front. Yeah, Porsche doing Porsche things, Stephen. You'd know, you've driven the Porsche in enough of our GT3 championships. You should be on the grid, mate. You'd have the measure of these. You'd be fighting well up the field. What do we think in chat then? What are the odds? We've got 2.5 minutes left. Can Matty D get past Matty J? It's probably the closest gap on the field at the moment. Matty J, look, trying to conserve the tyres. You can see he's just not pushing it in that flamboyant Matty J style. Whereas Matty D, Matt Davies wants to get through. These two raced each other enough. They'll be having a whale of a time. But who do we reckon it's going to be? Johnston there with a slight correction coming out of the left-hander, thrown towards the curb, a big flick of oversteer. He holds it together. We know he can hold a slide, but it won't have done the tyres any favours. Temperatures could well be through the roof at this stage. Matty D jinks to the outside, he's braked later. Davies later on the brakes, has to... yeah, McGee. Marty D looking good. Who's looking pointy, sorry. And then Marty McD. Yeah, leader onto the final lap. Paul heads through. Matt Davies closing in. He's all over the back. There's a back marker to the inside. And Matty J's got a good run. That's Scott Savage having to avoid the back marker in the background. There we go then, 77 chases number 2. Oh, we got an overlap. Why is it every time I look at the chat something happens? Stop and go 30 for Ryan. So he's been speeding in the pit lane. We've had an accident for car 70. Did he hit him? It's been logged as an accident. Looks like there was some contact through the right-hander. Johnston having to go defensive everywhere. Matty D really wants this 5th place. Davies just regroup. Let's see what the right-hander before the next straight is, because that's the next real opportunity. They're both quite leery out over the curves. Right, the rise and the fall over the crest here onto the right-hander. The inside curve probably not helping keep the car settled. Looks like a comparable run for both of these guys. Scott Savage not too far behind because they are battling. Looks like the guys ahead are holding position for the moment. Davies close in, flick of oversteer. He's closed the gap but not able to make a move. Dare we look away as Paul Hayho comes across the line to take the win. Race 1's gone his way. It's a 1-2 for Brewdog as Wellborn takes 2nd place. We saw Alex taking 3rd off of Ant Brown, who holds on for 4th, but then we're back to these guys because we really wanted to see. They've battled every inch of these last few laps, but Matt Johnston holds on. Matt Davies not quite able to get through, but will be happy for 6th in a well-fought battle. Scott closing in for 7th. It's then Joe Challoner following Ash Toft across the line, who's obviously a little bit further down. He's a lap or 2 down. Then a couple more laps cars, but you've got the gap back to Nat Shirley, who will finish for 9th. Josh leading Silvers out of the final turn. We've seen Zenko, Jurovic, David and Toff finished as well. So there's Copeland for a top 10 finish, but Silver 1st place. And you've got a recovering Wes for 11th. Osborne, flick of oversteer, kills the throttle, gets it back under control. Half throttle, a wiggle. There is Alex for 12th. Ross Parker then a little further back. He's 8 and a bit seconds off his delta, so in some strife on his final lap. 3rd in class. Then Dave Rose, we saw him get a punt or 2 earlier on. Ricky Risotto for 15th. John Walker and Ash Wotton. You've then got Yates, Jurovic, Zenko, Lyons, David Toft, Foster and Scott Lawson, all back into the pits in their respective positions. So it was one hell of a race. Apologies, I didn't keep up with all of it, but as you can imagine, 25 cars is quite a lot to keep track of, not knowing liveries to be able to jump to cars involved in incidents. Answers in the chat to Matty Davies' question, if you will. I won't read it out because I don't want to ban. Can't hit. Matty Zenko, you got a couple of fans in the chat, just don't swear, but hoping for a more fortunate race this time.
Thank you very much. Let me guess who it is. Is Sam in there?
There's a number of people, you'll have to watch it back.
Jesus, I will watch it. A number of people. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I am popular. I told you, Mom.
Very good. So, yeah, hoping for a cleaner one. But are you happy with the car? We saw once you'd pit and had a fresh car and got rid of the damage, you were essentially using it as a test session.
Well, yes. And I wasn't really happy with it. I don't know where the pace went. Certainly not having it right now. But we'll see.
A number of the guys saying towards the end of the race the tyres were completely done, the temperature on the circuit and the duration of the race, that half hour just taking the life out of these tyres.
Indeed.
Indeed, is that all I get? Indeed.
Well, I would have to swear, and your stream is child-friendly, so I will not do it.
Bloody well not. Right, we'll hopefully this race goes a little better for you. Hopefully we see you,
Thank you very much.
forwards towards Alex and through towards the front of the grid.
Thank you very much, Tom. Thanks for getting in touch, and to my giant fan base, thank you very much for supporting.
Go Eggman, go. Right. Back he goes to the other chat as he drives through Alex's car. That always looks good on stream. Yeah, time to start expecting a Craglin. Well, there was a pretty good Craglin at the start of race 1. We saw a number of cars caught up, and throughout the race, a couple of bumps and scrapes. But if that hasn't put you off, please join the Discord. Please come and get involved with the racing. We've got 30 people signed up to this, obviously 25 on track tonight, so if we could push to a 30 car grid, that'd be absolutely fantastic, and I'd get even more lost in what to look at and who to keep track of. Yeah, if you are just watching on Twitch, if you're just stopping by, don't forget, give us a follow or a sub or whatever it's called on here. Yeah, if you can subscribe, if you've got an Amazon Prime account and you've got a free subscription, chuck it our way. Be notified each week, and we'll make some stickers or something for you. And then I believe it's been announced we've got a charity race coming up. The details of that are on the Discord, and I will do a better job of looking that up, telling you about it after this race. So I will kill the music and we will square up 2 by 2. The drivers forming up that grid. Can Matyzenko stay out of trouble? Can I find the helicopter? There we go. So Hey-Ho leading the pack down towards that green light. He's well far forward. It's normally Matty J that finds those good slots. John Walker out of position start. That's going to be a drive-through from him. So race 2 already one to forget, but it might give him a chance to stay clean. So it's Wellborn's got a cracking start down the inside of Ant Brown. Matyzenko looks like he's going to get past Alex as well. So Ant's going to get hung out to dry somewhat. Comes across the nose of Andrew Wellborn. They're 3 wide in the background. Matt getting through. Yeah, Matyzenko through to 4th. Alex has been hung out to dry. He is dropping down the field. There he is. So Joe Challoner through as well. They're 2 by 2 further back. Matty J has got ahead, or is already fighting with Matt Davies. So Hey-Ho leads, and Brown did hold on ahead of Andrew Wellborn, who has got 3rd. Matyzenko up to 4th. Matty J down the inside of Matt Davies. Matt Davies wide. That's an opportunity for Challoner, but Johnston loops it. He gathers it back up. There's a couple more cars looping it back indoors further back, but Johnston losing out on what was a great start. That's Tom Lyons down the inside of another car. That looked like Tom Lyons. Oh, now going defensive from Ricky. Mr. Risotto having to get away from that one. Shadows disappear as we continue. Wes is already out. Unfortunately, Wes is back to pits and looks like he's no longer in the server. Yeah, so it looks like Wes that has dropped away. Let's jump back up the field. So it is Hey-Ho with a nice gap. It's over a second already. Leads his teammate. So Wellborn has got past Ant Brown on the opening lap. And now under pressure immediately from Matyzenko. The Zenko fans are going to love it. Someone has over-rotated back in the field. Not quite sure who that was. I just stabbed a few random names. My apologies. So, and they're dropping back off of Wellborn, who actually closed in slightly on the pull. Yeah, Andrew with a really good drive. Matyzenko wide, and that's put him under pressure from Matt Davies. Matt Davies will now have the inside line. The long right-hander, that was the door open for Challoner. Challoner backs out of it. Alex Kingston looking to recover. Joe on the inside curve, a kick off oversteer. Let's try and get out of the helicopter. There we go, then they filed through the second of the right-handers. That front left absolutely crying, but in these cars, the rear left more so. As they get on the power, Johnston trying to recover further back. He's well in the pack now. He's just behind Adam Foster with Dave Rose keeping him company. Dave a little out of shape out of the turn there. Yeah, Matty didn't kill anyone. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Beef. Not killing anyone. Matty J really putting the pressure on. He's going to be kicking himself from that earlier mistake. Joe Challoner ahead, going defensive on Kingston. He's going to back things up. Osborne there waiting. A kick of oversteer again. The guys not learning from race 1 that they really need to look after these tyres. Alex closing right in on Joe there. Joe just dropping back from Matty ahead. Matty holding station in 5th at the moment. Actually, has Davies got through on Zenko? I think he has. Adam Foster now under pressure. There's Matty J. He looked like he was going to try and get a few positions off of him. I've lost my words, apologies. Quite a frantic first couple of laps. Matt looking for a way through, pick a side. A little bit of weaving going on. Yeah, closes back out to the outside, so he shows his nose to the outside. Adam there with a compromise line in. Matty J with a run out but nowhere to go, so he's going to be right on the tail of Adam through the long right-hander now. Yeah, absolutely, you're right, Chris, and Stephen agrees in the chat. Joe, exuberant with his driving, he's going to be rinsing those tyres. If they die in 20 minutes on the last one, well, they're going to be done 5 minutes in on this one. There's the cutback from Matty J. Did he get his nose down the inside? No, that tighter line compromises his run off the turn, but this defensive drive from Adam means a mistake was eventually forced. Dave Rose skips across the gravel, loses some places as well. It's unfortunate from Adam, but it opens the road. That's the long way round for Scott Savage there, as he managed to do it. I think he has the inside line now, so Dave Rose compromising himself, running off the track, but not quite as badly as... Oh no, Scott, you were doing so well. He gets on the power, he spins it round, keeps well out the way, doesn't compromise any of the other guys, so unfortunate there for Scott. He was looking really competitive. Bounces across the grass, gets the car back on the track. He's just in behind Adam, so 2 recovering pro drivers now down in 21st and 22nd. So back down the front, it's an inter-teammate battle because Paul Hayhoe and Andrew Wellborn have broken a second clear of Ant Brown. Will we see our first team orders of the season? Then just behind the 76 car, that's Alex to the inside of Matt Davies. He gets through, but Matt able to unwind the steering. Alex is going to want to come through as well, so Matty D backs out of that one and covers the inside line. So Joe Challoner up the road. Matty Davies loses 1 place after a move down into turn 1. A really close battle here. Obviously our front runners now able to break away. They close up, they're really close. An unsettled Alex Osborne has got Matty Zenko right in his mirrors. Matty's dropped down to 8th. I'm not sure when that happened. We've got calls in the chat for ban Team Brewdog and Brewdog 1-2. Not possible. Yeah, they'll probably trip over each other in a moment. So not quite sure where Matty Zenko's demise came from. Some contact. Matt Davies and Alex Kingston is logged on the server. So yeah, Matty, on that last lap, Matty Zenko did a 150, whereas those around him are doing 49s and 48. So Matty was in trouble earlier in the previous lap. We just missed that. I think the top 2 are being caught by Ant Brown at the moment. Just keep an eye on that gap as it gets closer through the chicane and then ekes out as we head down the straight. Some damage on the left-hand side of the Davies car there. So I think that is now Alex closing in on Joe Challoner. It's come down 0.2 in the last sector alone. It's now only 0.4. That'll be a hell of a run from Alex if he can close on. A little flash of the lights down into the braking zone, but we've settled down for a moment. Challoner currently up in 4th after coming into strife. They're inevitable, aren't they? Cars should be purple and have something front bumpers. I'm not saying anything. Joe's had to go defensive. Alex then looks for a way around the outside. He's going to look for the tighter exit. There it is. So it's harsher on the car, but it does mean an overlap. Forces Joe defensive. Now he's going to look for the undercut again this way. He's got it done. The nose is down the inside. It's a good run out. 77 is spun around. Matt Davies now facing the wall. Johnston comes through. He's recovering. I think that was Osborne backing out of it. Let's just see. Probably 30 seconds was a bit much. We saw this battling going on. Let's go for camera set 1. Watch a little closer. So Matt with the inside line forced slightly more defensive. There he is. Zinko then in the background. Matty slightly deep, but Osborne runs into the back of him, so that's why Alex got out of the throttle and waited on the right hand side, as you can see there. But that's an easy 2 positions for Matty J, who then gets to scamper up the road, now back in 8th place. Nat Shirley all over the back of Zenko. There he is. Just further down the grid, I've been watching the battles further up. Ross Parker has just dropped behind Tom Lyons. Dave Rose is then just behind him. There he is. So that's only happened relatively recently. There's Ryan David, Keith Risotto, Ash Wootton in the Martini car, followed by Adam Foster, who you saw recovering earlier on. Josh Copeland a little further down, was 0.051 off the back of Foster. It's now 0.6, so he's either had a go or been passed. We're 10 minutes in, we're barely a third of the way through. Here comes Ash Toft, now under pressure from a recovering Scott Savage. Ash offsets the car, he's away from the curb, goes back over to the curb to get that sweep down into turn 1. Some damage on this car again. These cars not the easiest things to tame. So the drivers are running into quite a bit of strife. Scott's looking for the long way round, and all he's found is unfortunately the marbles. So Scott, we saw earlier on having issues. Josh, we heard that. Josh, what are you doing in the gravel? Get out of the gravel, Josh. Nathan Yates and Igor a little further off. And then Lawson. And we saw John having to serve that penalty earlier on. So top 2 still running away. Someone gets some Brewdog screenshots. We've got another yellow flag. There's the track map. 86 is in trouble. There's the instructions if you're wondering. 86 being Alex Osborne's no longer in the race. So Alex Osborne's had enough. He was the yellow flag and is the second retirement from this evening, so that's unfortunate to see for Alex. The second race there not going his way. Is worth pointing out, if you are watching this back and you are one of the drivers, don't forget there are points down the field and you can certainly make use of them later on in the series. It could well be a drop round, but you could have a worse evening or not attend, so always worth sticking it out if you can. Easy for me to say, just talking over. So Ant's got a bit of breathing room. Then it is Alex Kingston making his way back up the field after he dropped wide on the opening lap. Joe Challoner soon to have Zenko for company on that last lap. Joe was actually faster by 0.3, but Zenko currently half a second up on his Delta. There he is, the Eggman car. So we'll keep an eye on that battle. There's Nat Shirley and Matt Johnston, both known for being quick drivers, as is Matt Davies. Not too far away. Tom Lyons currently your silver leader, but Ross Parker and Dave Rose not too far behind, certainly keeping the pressure on as we head through that middle sector. The temperature actually dropping off now that we're 6 PM. So the tyres going the opposite way to that they were going last race. Tom there, quite reserved, and the car looking quite settled as he heads down into the final sector. Gravel and tyre rubber everywhere. Yeah, Tom's not pushing the curbs, but that's probably doing him a favour, because it's just keeping the car a little more settled. He's just got to have the measure of Ross and just try and keep the pace. Which probably doing a good job for second in class at the moment. A lot less class mix-up than the last race. Out wide for Ross. Oh no! So Ross has been in the gravel. Dave Rose has to bail down the inside, as does Ryan David. So that's a couple of places lost for Ross. We've cursed at the commentator. We've thrown him out into the gravel. Apologies, I was looking at the chat again. So Ross losing out on a couple of places there. And he's out over the curb again, just needs to gather it up. Don't know if he's got an issue with the tyres, if they have in fact dropped off a cliff or overheated. But that does mean that he's now under pressure. Well, Ryan David, leader of the AMS, has come through and he's now under pressure from second place. That's Ricky in the AMS as well. Josh Copeland doesn't look to be too far back either. So where I just thought it was all settling down, it's certainly all still to play for. They are out front. Wellborn in second. And in no man's land we've then got Nat Shirley and Matty J side by side. Quick 10-second replay. What happened there? Nat slightly deep, unsettled over the curb. Matt to the inside. That curb's always going to bounce him, and yeah, it did. Luckily, he bounced off a Nat, so chucking it over the curb didn't have any negative impact on Nat coming through. So they live to fight another day. Zenko's up past Challoner. We saw that squaring up earlier on. Zenko's been... Oh yeah, it was 2 seconds quicker than Joe last lap, so we did just miss that on the last lap. Apologies, Matt and Joe. We didn't get to see that move. Unfortunately, I can't keep track of all of them. Matt Davies not quite gone with Johnston, but if he starts battling... Ah, Dave Rose with a stop and go 10. Dave Rose with some damage, it would seem. Or a track limit, so not quite sure what the stop and go 10 will be for. But it's not ideal for Dave Rose, currently 4th in class, will drop down. 5 silver cars, so we might have a bit of a rejig after this round, who knows. See a few more people jumping into the live stream. Welcome in. This is the second race of this evening. It's the first race of the season. The guys all just getting the measure of these Porsche Cup cars. Nat Shirley looking really aggressive against Challoner, who didn't have such a good run. Looks to the outside. Joe's had to brake a little earlier. Sorry. Not going too deep, but Johnston ready to pounce and get some of these positions. So this three-way battle now heads its way through the final sector. Johnston with a big kick of oversteer, keen to get onto the power, not keen to look after the tyres. We are over the half race distance. Johnston late on the brakes there, scared me, let alone Nat. The guys up and over that sausage curb. A good run for Joe in the yellow car. The team Yotas with Express Legal Services. Nat's got a hell of a run. Joe has decided quite late on to cover the inside. They're into each other. That'll be one for the stewards. That's going to be some heavy damage for Nat as he bounces off the wall, tries to get it squared up. Should we do some live stewarding? Just get a feel for what happened there. Let's far chase it. So Nat's got a good run. He's unwound the steering. Joe's actually held a tighter line, but he's given Nat the run. Got a good amount of slipstream. Joe's then last second as Nat's gone. Joe has gone, and Joe... I'll leave it to the chat to decide, but actually the stewards will do it. So if you are thinking of joining us, that is a typical incident that we'll look at steering input and everything like that, because it has resulted in 2 cars having made contact. One car bouncing off the wall. Luckily for Nat, he's managed to keep it going. Dave Rose now in the pits serving that penalty. Matt Johnston all over the curbs. Here they come then onto what you may want to call the back straight. Another big heavy braking zone now, and Johnston will want to get past Challoner as quick as possible. A flick of oversteer there. These guys really rinsing the tyres for everything they're worth. Track down to 27 degrees, so getting slightly cooler again. Yeah, exactly, that one's going to the Spaniels. For those of you that don't race with us, the Spaniels are the next escalation past the stewards. If the stewards get it wrong, then it goes to the Spaniels. Right. That's Matty J closing in on Joe. Maybe Joe quite an aggressive wing, potentially. So those guys both getting good runs heading towards Joe. Let's go and see what Ash Wooten is up to. Ah. They were all rather close. Ash Wooten, yeah, car number 17, not in an instant. Not quite sure what happened on that last one, but Ash was close and then was 2 seconds a lap slower and is now 10 seconds off the back. So apologies, there's an incident missed there. Let's have a quick run through again. Hey-ho staying ahead of Wellborn. Gapping and Brown. Alex closing in. Ant was slow on the last lap, did a 1:48.5. Alex has managed a 46.9 on his last lap, so Ant now potentially coming under pressure from Alex. We'll keep an eye on that. The chat goes wild when there's a crash. It's like that's all you're here for. It's like everyone watches Formula 1 just for the crashes. Is that just me? Yeah, 7 seconds between Brewdog and Ant is outrageous. Yeah, they have absolutely driven off. But like I say, Ant was 2 seconds off his time on that lap before this one. Then Zenko's got a nice bit of breathing room. It's then Challoner further back, sustaining the pressure at the moment from Johnston. The coming together between Challoner and Shirley has allowed Davies back into the fold. He'll be looking to pick up the pieces. Tom Lyons, again, bit of breathing room there for him. Adam Foster heading through for 11th. Ross Parker, after that little dip in the gravel earlier on, for 12th. Ricky has got Josh in his mirrors. So Josh, big flick of oversteer for Josh. Really, that lead foot for Josh. Huge amounts of oversteer going on. Conscious that that group of 4 from earlier are all rather close together. Then there's Ryan with some front end damage there, and Ash Wooten with some tail end damage. I'll let you do the maths. Nathan Yates, Rockefeller Racing, number 46. Quite got the measure of the Porsche at the moment. Then it's a big gap back to Scott Lawson, John Walker, and then you can see the leaders just coming through. So John and Drurovic. Down in 21st with the leaders just behind. Absolutely right in the chat. If Ricky Risotto, it's an excellent name. If it's not his legal name, he must change it immediately. I think it's brilliant. So then you've got Dave Rose and Ash Toft is still circulating. Shout out Ash, just less right foot. Oh no! Your leader is in strife. He's fallen over. What's happened there? It's it looks like a Brewdog suicide, but it's not. It's Drurovic taking out the leader whilst crashing. So he joined in the wrong livery earlier, so the replay looks like the wrong livery. But that is Paul Hayhoe out, having made contact, or having had contact made by a back marker, dropping him down to 4th. So he's now down behind Alex Inkson. The Brewdog 1-2 is not what we thought it was going to be. It's a nightmare so far, so 7 minutes to recover for Paul, but having had that spin, he's scrubbed those tyres across the road. Just hope that he's been able to save the tyres and not been pushing them as hard, but you saw the lap times, those guys weren't holding back. That is a disaster friendly fire from a misloaded livery. That's one for the Spaniels. So, Wellborn leads. Not the way he wanted to be leaving. But yeah, Discord name change coming up. But I will. So, Ant has to sustain this pressure from Alex. The guys both rotating the cars on the throttle pedal. Big chunks of oversteer. Paul's going to hope that these guys are going to battle. Although Paul, Alex, everyone's getting a little out of shape. There's oversteer, there's understeer, there's wide, there's generally just cars everywhere. And there's a battle pack behind as well. Let's go to a wider camera set. Let's see what's going on. So there's Paul recovering. Then Matty's got a little bit of room to Joe. But Joe now under fire. A flash of the lights. That's normally Joe's signature move. But Johnston looking for a way through. He goes left, he goes right. He forces Joe to defend at the last moment. He looks to the outside. He's going to put the car all the way around the outside. Joe holds the tight line. Johnston's through. It's going to be unsettled off the curb, but makes it through. Joe flicks for a wider run into the right-hander. But one hell of a move around the outside of turn one for Matt Johnston. We know he can make a car dance, but that was a hell of a move to get up into sixth and demote Joe, who now a frustration slide. It's impressive. It looks really good. He continues to slide out of the turn, but his tyres will be absolutely cooked. Car 10 moves out of the way. Dave Rose keeping well out of trouble. He'll be in the Discord chat. He'll see the blue flags. He gets out of the way of Davies as well. Flash of the lights from Challoner, I think it was. As we've now got Matty J trying to get past Djokovic, who does drive out of the way this time. No oversteer involved. Here we go then. Everyone files through. Davies through, then there's some oversteer in the background. Running around the inside. Dave Rose has found the rally course. Dave Rose off for a bit of autocross. Let's just check in back down the front. So Paul Hayhoe has got a 1 second gap to Alex Kingston, but you have to say Alex on his pace was looking absolutely on fire. It's Andrew out front who's been able to back off, having been traumatised by the earlier incident, seeing his teammate nerfed. So Ant Brown was the fastest on that last lap. Alex Kingston was then second fastest, and Paul Hayhoe third fastest. No, Zenko was actually faster than Hayhoe, but of that trio there, it does look like Matty Zenko up past one of the Golf liveried cars. Hey look, Stream Elements has commented, if you are watching this and aren't in our Discord or following our Facebook, please do so. You can be part of this. You can come back next week and keep me company, or you can race on the circuit. Johnston holding Delta at the moment. Is then Challoner under pressure from Davies, trying to keep an eye on Davies' side. Well, both of them. They're just everyone's sideways. No one's got any tyres left. 3.5 minutes left. So we've probably only got 2 laps to go. And we're still squabbling like this. Nat Shirley way outward in the background. Hits a bit of the old polystyrene. Moves it out of the way. It looks like Kingston is putting Ant Brown under pressure. So second and third currently looking like they're about to get into a battle. We've seen Ant with good drive out that final turn several times this evening. Looks like he just rides the sausage curb like you see the Formula 1 cars do, whereas a few of the other guys come crashing over the top of it. Paul just showing his nose further back, just offsetting the car. Closing in under braking. Alex comes from quite a long way back, whereas Ant's able to get on the throttle slightly earlier. I think net result is the same distance apart. 2 minutes 40 now left on the timer. Car 13 showing an incident previously, but I think it was a different incident. No one drastically off their times at the moment. Josh is a second off his Delta, but that's probably just tyre wear. Walker just heading out of shot. He'll try not to get in the way of these guys as they battle. Incredible noise. Oh look, Stream Elements has commented again. There's another link, but it doesn't look like a hyperlink this time. It looks like it's just typed out because there's no space. But as Ant goes very defensive, you can buy a t-shirt. Ant's gone massively defensive, and that is really closing this pack up. Paul is going to hope to take advantage of these two squabbling. We've got another yellow flag. Let's just see what the track map is saying. It's gone. Leader is on the final lap, we were correct. So here we go, it's going to be a last lap battle as they run out wide. Alex won't have the run he wants down the start-finish straight, but that's no matter because Paul also dipping a tyre out into the gravel. So the gaps are 0.4 and 0.6 as we head down into turn 1. It looks like Challoner and Davies are together. Matt Davies was showing briefly ahead. He no longer is. They weave down the straight. It looks like it's going to be a battle down into turn 1 of the final lap. Davies with a good run. Looks to the inside. Joe chooses to not defend. Davies goes in. Joe's learnt from Matty J to try and go around the outside, but it's not worked because Matty D has run deep. They bang doors. They try and not bang doors again. I've got an advert on my stream, so I don't get to see the final lap of the race. Davies holding the inside line. Challoner now to the outside. Into turn 4 we go. Davies the narrower line there. Joe will be able to take a slightly later apex. They're both scrabbling for grip. Joe's car looks massively oversteer bias at the moment. Obviously rear engine and been putting up with 27 degrees for the duration of this race. The tyres will be well past their best. The hill we go. The timer hits 0. I do want to sub with Prime, but don't have Prime, Craig. Thanks for your suggestion. If anyone else does have Prime, do it. Out the final turn though, Andrew Wellborn after his teammate nerfed by a back marker. Andrew holding good pace. Ash Toft coming across the line just behind. Andrew Wellborn wins the second race of the series. Ant Brown holds on, but a good display for second place. Alex putting him right under pressure. Paul Hayhoe for 4th. It's then Mazenko out the final turn for 5th place. Matty J able to run away once Davies and Challoner started fighting, but it is Davies for 7th, 8th for Challoner, 9th for Nat Shirley, really closing in the closing stages. You then got a couple of guys that are a lap down, but it is going to be Tom Lyons if he doesn't loop it in this turn. He hasn't looped it in this turn. It's Tom Lyons to win the silver category for the second race of this evening. It will then be Josh Copeland for second place in class. Adam Foster and a very sideways Ricky Risotto out at a final turn. A flamboyant win in the AM class for Ricky as Alex bangs it down the barrier. You do lose points for doing that on your driver's licence. Through the middle for Ross Barker, having brought it home for 14th. Third in class. Then you have Scott Savage, Ryan David now after some earlier strife, a new alignment on the front end of that car required. Yates across the line for 17th, and it was Ashwood and John Walker in the barrier. Dave Rose, Scott Lawson, Igor Jurovic, I get it wrong, Jurovic, we're going with that, Jurovic. Ash Toft would have then been 23rd. We lost Alex Osborne earlier on, and Wes unfortunately did not start the second race. Well, that rounds up this evening's antics. We'll have a quick word with Wellborn and then wrap up the stream. Andy, not quite how you wanted to take the win, but a win is a win nonetheless.
Yeah, yeah. As you say, not how I wanted to take it. I didn't see properly what happened with Paul. Paul was just saying that Igor just lost it and ended up hitting Paul. So
yeah, we watched it twice on stream. I'm sure the stewards will be watching it and having a word.
Oh, okay.
So
right. Okay.
yes.
Well, let's leave it to stewards on that part.
Leave it to the stewards indeed, but a win.
Yeah. No.
Win.
Yeah. I'm happy. I say I couldn't keep with Paul. I was with him at the start, obviously, and I could. We managed to break away from Anne. I was happy to get past Anne early because I wanted to try and keep with Paul at the start because I knew how strong he was. And just, I think we got about 15 minutes in, and then all of a sudden it was just, I don't know what happened with him, but he just suddenly went that little bit quicker again. He just gained 3 or 4 tenths every lap, and I couldn't compete with him on that race pace. He was absolutely flying. But yeah, no, I'm obviously happy. I've got a win in the series. I always like to have at least one win in a series, so we've got that done nice and early.
Absolutely, nice strong start.
Yeah.
Where are we? Where are we next week?
Imola, I believe. So,
Imola. Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Brilliant track. Absolutely love that track. So yeah, it should be good. Hopefully, there's been some good racing down in the pack. I know it's sort of split up a little bit up near the front, but I hope there's been plenty for you to watch.
Oh, plenty to watch. I just got to find my feet finding the action again. I'm a little rusty after a couple of weeks now.
Yes.
But we will get there. No, good stuff. I think all that's left to say is thank you to everyone that's watched the stream this evening. We've had a good number of viewers all evening. Stephen Paul, Chris Monroe, Craig's been in there. It's good to see a lot of familiar names in the chat. If they're not on the track, they're supporting us via the stream, so that's fantastic to see. We've got a couple of weeks until the old TCR cars start on Assetto Corsa, so that's the Wednesdays firing up in a few weeks' time.
Loads of grid slots available for that as well. Come and get on the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. Get involved. They're good fun cars. AJ's banned from practicing, so
yeah. I think the only way to keep him in bed.
An obscene amount of ballast. And yeah, if you're watching it back, well done for getting this far through. And we shall see you all next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.